Well, Scalia, even though he's a right-winger, I would expect Scalia to at least have enough integrity to say that the whole free speech thing is total bullshit, right? I hope he said that.
I don't hear the morbid atheist.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I hear somebody saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who the hell was that?
Hey, Gary, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
That was morbid.
Okay. No, the morbid atheist just has his mic open. He's not actually talking.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So you can hear me.
Oh, I heard you were still talking about fucking Scalia and shit, you idiots. I don't know why you're talking about that shit for. Supreme Court's fucking...
Still? We just mentioned him for the first time like 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, when I left the room, you were talking about, oh, they'll go to the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court will say poo on that, and blah, blah, blah. Supreme Court, fuck them.
Gary, what's your opinion on the Duck Dynasty free speech, or with freedom to be an asshole douchebag?
He doesn't give a fuck about those guys.
Yeah, I don't even know what a Duck Dynasty is, so yeah, I have no clue. I hate everybody, okay? Yeah. If somebody's trying to do something other than my agenda, fuck them.
Gary's agenda.
Huh?
Gary's agenda.
Exactly. It's my agenda or the highway, or however it goes.
Oh,
I just the whole idea. We got to fix the democracy. We got to fix the economy. You got to fix it. You can't just twiddle with it. You can't just piss on it. You got to fix it. Everybody thinks they can fix something by, okay, I just take a piss on it, and there, it's fixed. I ain't gonna fix shit.
We're going to fix the economy, but we're going to keep fractional reserve banking and fiat currency, so suck on that, Ron Paul.
Yeah, well, fiat currency, there's no other kind of currency. It's just silly to have any other kind of way. Let's have elephant currency. Yeah, okay? Yeah, we'll use elephant.
No, you actually have to have real pieces of gold.
Well, I'm just saying, there's
right, gold and silver.
No such thing as a non-fiat currency that makes any sense. It's just stupid to have any currency tied to any commodity. That's just retarded.
Well, because you want to be able to expand or retract the money supply based on the economic conditions. You can't do that with commodities, right?
They're just contracts. The point is, it's just all the currency was meant to be is contract paper. It wasn't meant to be valuable.
Why don't they do this thing, like I've heard this a lot from kind of progressive type people, but you know, the Federal Reserve, how they have the window that the big banks can come to and get cheap money. Why don't they open that up to smaller local banks?
Well, I mean, obviously, because it's you gotta impose responsibility somewhere. So I mean, this whole idea of just all this, you gotta give them some what do you call that? Some sort of stake in the game they're playing. And I think if you make it too cheap, well, I don't know. I mean, in a way, I guess I'm not I'm part of me just doesn't want people borrowing too much money. So I mean, I kind of just want all the money lent for no interest, but I want it lent for good purposes. So if you're not buying infrastructure, then yeah, I don't think you should be borrowing money.
Well, that's what I mean. Like they tell infrastructure banks. I mean, that's been another progressive proposal that can't get any traction, obviously, because it just gets blocked from in the right-wing government in the House of Representatives.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, but that's the kind of thing I want. I'd rather we migrated to, because this whole private banking system just makes rich people richer. So I don't like the poor borrowing money from the rich and paying them for it. That's just making the mob more powerful. It's like going to the loan shark. You don't want people doing that. You're just making the mob more powerful. Well, anyway. Yeah, sorry about the absence. I had to do a cold reboot. I mean, I had to shut the computer. Actually, had to turn it all the way off. Fuck.
Is my mic? Oh yeah. See, now my mic's open, even though I did push to talk. So there's all sorts of. This tiny chat's really buggy, huh? As
Yeah.
usual.
Well, it's it's free, so I can't complain. But yeah, I'm gonna complain anyway. Yeah, it sucks, fuckers.
So what's this right here? It's about -5, I think, in Connecticut. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's cold. Ugh. Nasty shit.
Yeah, you can't even walk outside in some places because you wouldn't even be able to breathe.
Yeah, it's gonna get weird this week. I mean, it's gonna warm up for the next 2 days. Like it'll get up into the 30s and 40s, and then it's gonna drop back to 0 again. Fucked up weather.
Wacky weather.
Yeah, well, I don't want to talk about weather really. I did see that warbles.
Well, I mean, they're using this, as usual. People are, oh, climate change or global warming must be a hoax because it's cold in the Northeast right now.
Old fan's gonna be 18. Wow. How you feeling? You feeling better? I didn't watch your whole video because you said it's disgusting, so I decided I'm not to watch it. But you were talking like you weren't feeling too well. Morbid atheist guy, you're making noises. Stop it.
Yep.
You can mute yourself. That way you won't make inadvertent noises in my room. And such.
I got it now. So the mute button works, but the push to talk didn't. I get it now.
Okay then. Yeah, it really is a stupid fucking software. So, yeah, I saw Warbles on a lot done a video about, it's really hot where he is in Australia. So apparently everything's drying up and it's all global warming all over there. I don't like Warbles much, I mean, he's just such a pompous motherfucker, especially on his stupid sunfoil shit. But he does sometimes make interesting videos. It's just that, it's funny how, he just coincidentally, he has a skeleton on his wall, a paper one. And because of the heat, it warped, and it was kind of an interesting, that he did a video using that as a prop, and it was kind of an interesting, Yeah, I got turtles, and I don't really have, the cats aren't mine, but I do feed some wayward style cats, roamers.
So Gary, I was listening. I'm reading the Scientific American magazine. It's pretty kick-ass, but once in a while they have one of these articles, phantasmagorical articles. One of them was um, there's possibly more life in the universe than we thought, because now they're saying, well, some scientists are, that the moons of the planets, exoplanets, are more likely to harbor life than the actual planets. But then in the same article, they're saying, but it's kind of contingent on the planet having a large satellite, such as Earth. That way, you have consistent seasons and
Yeah,
constant.
it does sound kind of bogus when they pull this kind of crap, just because moons don't have a very they get exposed to a lot of meteors and shit. So yeah, they're not very stable. So yeah, I don't think you gotta have real, we obviously the life on Earth took an awful long time to evolve into something, and the stuff in, I keep making this argument, but I mean, the stuff in the ocean is 4 billion years old, and look where it's stuck. I mean, it's stuck, take the mammals out, what do you got? Even take the turtles out, what do you got? Take the snakes out, what do you got in the ocean? Right? What's the big giant interesting life form in the fucking ocean? Great white shark. I mean, come on. You want that on a moon somewhere? You want fucking great white sharks swimming around on a moon somewhere? I sure as hell don't think that would be a great universe.
I'm trying to pitch the idea to you, though, that I think you may use this as an argument in addition to everything else, as in, even though a lot of people saying, well, since there's a lot of exoplanets, that means there's more possibility of life. But if it's narrowed down to planets as in our system, and they're saying most likely the moon formed from the impact with Earth, meaning such creation of a satellite is rarer than other, creations of satellites through the
Well,
disk.
yeah, I mean that's the thing is look at the rings of Saturn. That's what happens to moons. I mean they turn into the rings of Saturn. I mean they just smash into each other and turn into a bunch of dust. So, but I just obviously I just don't think it's the dynamics are obviously very specialized circumstances you need, but it doesn't matter. I mean that what they're ignoring, the part that bugs me is people just think that, oh yeah, you throw a fucking paramecium on a planet and all of a sudden you're going to have a human being in a billion years, and that ain't the way it's going to work. There's a ton of one-time events that took place in our history, and no one's accounting for that fact. The whole eukaryote thing, the whole idea of the cells grabbing other cells to do their interior hardware maintenance. That only happened one fucking time, just like abiogenesis. One fucking cell did that. Not 10 million cells, not 10 zillion cells, one fucking time. And I bet you the whole idea of having electricity travel down a neuron only happened one fucking time. There's only one kind of neuron, all right? All the neurons that exist are the same kind of neuron, all right? So we can also say that neurons only happened one fucking time. In all the zillions of experiments, one time there's a neuron. There's no organism that has a brain that isn't based on neurons. There's no other non-neuron based intelligence on Earth. So, I mean, there's another event that only happened one fucking time. I mean, so what are people counting on? They're counting on something that only happens one in a gazillion, a googolplex of times of experiments. You have to do a googolplex of experiments, and it happens once.
Right, but I'm also been trying to do research on the. I've been trying to make a video for a while now, but I'm guessing I'm waiting for them to find more exoplanets for me to do the statistics on, because like 90% of them are gas giants with like no possibility of life, right? And then the other 10 are rocky planets, but even those, most of those aren't even in the habitable zone.
Can't even say what a life form is, though, right? Life form just has to do with a replicating molecule, right? So technically, if they could happen on a gas giant, it would just be a different form of replicating molecule, right? But yeah, obviously you're not going to form DNA molecules. And again, they haven't demonstrated how it only happened once on Earth. I mean, I'm just saying, how are you going to make a DNA molecule on these other planets? What exactly are you think that do these people think is going to happen? It's just going to happen all by itself? Just, oh yeah, it's just going to happen. Just because it happened here, it means it happens everywhere. Well, that's not the way it works. But I'm just saying, what are they wishing on it anyway? Even if it did happen somewhere else in the universe, what do they think is going to evolve on those planets? I mean, a million years ago, planet Earth wasn't all that cool, was it? When we were eating shit on the prairie? What the fuck? Why the hell did it set this chick? It's pretty cool. Anyway.
Right. Well, one of the number one arguments I usually personally use, something I credit to myself, something I didn't hear anyone else say, but if people say life is so, or they wish to say it's so prevalent over the universe because there's so many planets, then by their same logic, there must be other movies done the same actors and the same faces and the same plots, and there must be, billions of same Earth with the same location of the cities and everything. So they must be drawn a line somewhere, but they don't think that far enough, because if you assume a near multiple possibility of other planets, you must also assume some kind of similarity or sameness across. But then they won't take it that far. They won't ever say,
Well, I
"Oh,
mean, no one does that. Even when they say something is, when they say it's infinite. Okay, when somebody says the word infinite, they think infinite means redundant. They all of a sudden think there's no such thing as a unique event in an infinite universe. And of course there is. There's stuff that maybe only happens in 5 million infinities. I mean, you can play with that forever because your infinite is the future. And you can just say that, no, you need to do a lot more infinite before you even do that one time. You got to go through like almost an infinite amount of infiniteness before you even have that happen one time, let alone a second time. So it's just bogus arguments all over the place. And look, we already have the proof that most of the universe is older than us. Most of the universe has been around, and there's nobody out there making any noise. So nobody got smarter than we did. Nobody got more advanced. So it's game the fuck over. We're not going anywhere. We're not doing anything. And this whole game we're playing is insidious. I mean, fuck. I just don't know why people think it's a great idea. Oh, there's people actually think, yeah, it'd be a great idea. Let's go ahead and put sea life on a planet. And they think that's great. Let's have a bunch of animals just pointlessly torture each other to death. And that's all they're going to do, right? They're all going to die, and they're all going to die probably badly. And so for what? You know?
And the infinite amount of planets and whatever possibilities means that there's another Michael Jordan somewhere, younger version, playing basketball, and he's also named Michael Jordan, and he's also black, right? And it's like,
Yeah, there's a zillion of them with the name Dave and Fred, and so there's a whole bunch of Michael Jordans who aren't called Michael. It's Joe Jordan, Jimmy Jordan. You know, I mean, yeah, you could just take it to endless possibilities of stupidity, but no one wants to acknowledge it. Just how we know this is really bizarre that we're here. The fact that we exist in the form and shape we exist in is a bizarre, perfect storm kind of event, and it's been demonstrated. We can see it in the evolution. We can see that this shit just doesn't happen, and nobody wants to account for that fact. That all the mammals, this is all, like I said, the whole phenomenon of just having a neuron is not an event that's likely to happen. In billions and trillions of years of evolution, you may never create a neuron.
right now they're trying to simulate a living cell in a software, insofar as they picked the simplest cell, genitalium bacterium something. It only has like 500 genes. So they decided to, for a few years now, they're trying to simulate how a cell would behave at any given moment just by programming each part of it, and they're still failing. Like they can't even do it on a software basis, and then they're doing it since '08. So I'm not saying they will never do it software-wise, but even
I mean, I'm not going to fault them for that, just because simulating the mechanics of a cell is really difficult. Just because that's like simulating the mechanics of an atom or something. I mean, there's all these little, you know, uh, it's number one. We don't have the mechanics, so we have to make up some of this stuff or guess at it, and that's dangerous. But it's pretty complex chemistry. It's inside of a cell. There's lots of structure in there, lots of chemical structure.
one thing though I can never understand is how exactly does the molecule stretch itself out? Where's the critical mass where the molecule says, okay, now I have enough mass to create a second copy of me? And that's what really interesting. That critical threshold is really interesting because that's the key, right, to everything. And
Well,
how?
I think there's chemistry that runs across those molecules. There's bits of chemistry that are essentially stroking the DNA. They're running up and down the DNA like a zipper. And so they're the ones I think that are, deciding when the DNA is ready because they fly off the end or something. And so there's that chemical becomes available, or it, in some other way manifests hey, this DNA molecule is complete because it doesn't have any holes in it. There's no missing rungs. And so I think that there's, there's just very interesting chemistry when you just think of how the molecule itself is read, and repaired and then split in half, and the whole splitting part, you got these microtubules that pull the two molecules, the two halves away from each other. I mean, even that is so, I remember that impressed the fuck out of me when I was a kid, when I first saw, film of the nucleus and watched the chromosomes pull apart. And I mean, my first reaction was, what the fuck is pulling them apart? I mean, what the hell is in there? I mean, how do you pull fucking chromosomes apart?
Yeah, if I can just add a comment here. The DNA doesn't copy itself. There has to be an enzyme that copies it. Sometimes there's an enzyme called like DNA polymerase that actually copies the DNA. At other times there's an enzyme called RNA polymerase that makes a messenger RNA copy.
Yeah, well, I mean, the point is it has to first, when it splits, it has to recombine all these little pieces, so that just has to do with basically there are only certain pieces that'll fit. So that part you can sort of understand that it's in this fluid full of these little bits, and these little bits that are right will stick. But yeah, it's a lot more complicated splitting a DNA molecule. And so, yeah, that chemistry is a lot more complicated. That's a lot more complicated process. But it's, they do have animations of the chemistry. I don't know how accurate it is, but it is interesting to watch. Some funky shit going on.
Yeah, that creeped the shit out of me back in I was 12, and they showed graphs of the cell splitting. Well, we didn't have computer animation in Russia back then. They just showed the step-by-step slides, but then it was like, well, how does it and why would it? I mean, where does it get the energy to split? And it was just so weird. I mean, they taught us evolution really, really early, unlike in America, where they don't really teach it at all in high school. And I mean, that stuck with me. That was really bizarre.
Yeah, like I said, it did a number on my brain because that got me really thinking about this whole mechanism, just how, there's so much there, But I mean, it was really interesting just to try to contemplate the physics of that. Because I was already thinking in terms of physics. I was just like, what is the thing? Yeah, what's in there that's doing that shit?
You gotta ask Matt if you want to know that.
Yeah. But that's the whole. I like, that those are very interesting angles. Is the distinction between chemistry and physics. And then this boundary between chemistry and biology. It's just such a contrived difference. I mean, it's not really a different subject. They're all the same subject. It's all physics. Yeah, well, there are other energy sources besides ATP. I mean, there's actually, I guess, in the neurons actually produce some other, like acetone or something. They produce some fucked up chemistry that neurons run on, which I didn't realize. That's, it's not all sugar based. I mean, you could probably remove paint with your brain. If you took your brain out and rubbed it on a painted surface, you could probably remove the paint with your brain.
Well, that would be kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes you think, oh, I got to yeah, well, I got to kill myself anyway. I'll blow my brains out onto the wall. But, oh, yeah, you want to remove some paint over there on that mantle? Yeah, I'll blow my brains out over there. So, yeah, well, I'll help you out.
Make yourself useful.
Yeah, well, anyway, I did fix my mic. My whole point was is that the whole argument about life being on other planets wasn't that they were, exactly life like ours. There's, if there's water on a planet, there's the possibility of life. It doesn't mean that there's going to be a Gary Amendum on, planet Cuntod.
The possibility of life is, again, just it's made up. I mean, you're just saying, okay, it's possible because it happened here, but that's all you're saying. You're not saying anything about probability, and you can't say anything about probability. And I can. I can say, something about the fact that we know it's rare. So I'm just saying, all the time on this planet, with all of these body parts laying all over the place, not a single zombie DNA molecule. Not one fucking zombie has ever been formed out of all these body parts. So you've had all these body parts for at least, what, 1 billion years? The Earth has been covered with body parts and not one zombie DNA.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, well, the Earth's been around for what, like 4.6 billion years. There's these like meteors and comets flying around with amino acids on them that are the building blocks for life. If you hit, a planet with one of those, with water, then there's a possibility.
So, yeah, possibility. Again, you're not saying anything about... Okay, I don't care what you say there's a zillion planets. I don't care what you say there's a gazillion planets. You're still not going to be able to do anything with this equation. So I'll give you 500 planets around every fucking sun in the universe. So go ahead, have 500.
Be a large enough sample size.
We are the sample.
Saying these variables don't matter. That's right. We already have a sample right the fuck here. Okay, abiogenesis. How many times did it happen? Once. Okay. How many times did your eukaryote shit happen? How many times? Once.
This is idiotic. A sample. Statistics requires more than one sample.
How many times did neurons happen? Oh, once. Game over. Evolution just makes mouths and anuses. That's what evolution will make, okay? That's what DNA molecules want to make, in a sense, of the real meaning of the word want. That's the native condition. Just make something with big nasty teeth and a big fat ass to shoot out the little dead parts. And that's it. That's what it makes, all right? This shit is just bullshit, okay? This is a fucking bizarre, spinning, way off course. This is like rocket ship, Joe Smo, all right? They're heading for Mars, and they slip on a banana peel, and they end up just spinning into space, and that's all this kind of life is doing. It's just a fucking aberration of nonsense. All right? The fucking dinosaurs kicked our ass. They would have owned us forever, and if it wasn't a fucking meteor made it happen for us. Yeah, well, Piero, you're so full of shit. I was going to make a response video to your full of shit video, but I was just like, I'm not even going to bother, okay? This is just such crap, absolute fucking crap, that I'm not even going to bother. This fucking Gaia shit, you got to grow the fuck up, all right? There ain't no fucking Gaia bullshit. There ain't no consciousness in anything else. You need neurology, you need a fucking brain, and it's all just an illusion anyway. And the only thing our consciousness is a fucking desire mechanism, so I don't even know why you are so horny to glorify it anyway. What is to glorify about the fucking goddamn, psycho desire?
You're the one that thinks it's glorious. I thought it was supposed to not be glorious, and it's a terrible, terrible thing, and it's just an explanation. You know what, Gary? We have a subjective point of view, like everything looks like it's around me, and I assume you're having a similar experience. That can be scientifically explained. End of explanation of why I'm interested in the subject.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't buy, number one, I don't buy any usefulness.
It's too magical to explain. It's too magical to explain, I guess.
No, the subjective crap is just that crap, okay? There's facts about how we got here and what we function as.
I'm talking about you have a stream of feelings.
Our functionality has nothing to do with... Yeah, I don't have any stream of feelings without neurons, okay? And without
Of course you have them. Yeah, I didn't say it didn't take neurons.
Well, yeah, you did.
I have in the past.
Yes, you, yeah.
I have in the past. I think it takes life to have something of this will.
Well, yeah, well, this will again.
Living things.
No, sorry, that's no good. Sorry,
Living things.
you can't do this, all right? Living thing just means replicating molecule, all right? So let's not play a game
What
with
more
this.
should it have to mean?
Yeah, it should have to mean sentience. That's an important distinction, okay? Dead and alive is a huge distinction, and most of the life on
Not
Earth
for will.
fucking alive, okay? It's only
Not
alive.
for will. Will doesn't need that distinction. Will is in a behavior that where it looks like something is intending to do something like eat.
Will is not behavior. Does anybody in this room think will means behavior? Everybody in this room knows that will means intent. Don't you know that? You know, everybody knows what the word will.
Shut up, Gary. I said that it's a kind of behavior which is intentional, like pursuit, like fleeing, like fight or flight decisions.
I'm sorry.
You know all this. You're avoiding it because it's too magic to explain.
I don't have to. There's no
You
matter.
will the behavior.
But we know that parameciums are not willing themselves to do a motherfucking thing. They have no neurology. They have no central nervous system. They have no capacity to will a fucking thing.
And so how do you think we recognize microbes under the microscope? How do we know they're alive when they look like specks of just chemical?
Oh man, how do we know they're alive? Well, first
how do we know out of their behavior? Obviously, right? The way they behaved showed will, right? Right? Didn't it? Didn't we figure it out? These little specks were alive. Somehow we didn't know about genes. Turns out they have genes. Weird. What a fucking coincidence.
You're too loud again, like always. So you're just yelling over everybody.
It's either that or too quiet.
Well, I'm just saying, I guess I would prefer that you were in too quiet mode so I could more easily talk over you than having to accept you talking over me. But whatever.
I'll turn down my mic because I probably can't lower my voice.
You probably can't turn down your mic either because you always fail at that kind of stuff because you're some kind of backophile. But anyway, look, I don't this stuff. I mean, the fact that our brain creates. Look, we know that when the first microbes were discovered, it was discovered by people who believed in God and saw no connection between their existence and those microbes. So to call them life was kind of silly because they're certainly in a different class from their perspective. So they thought of them as bugs or some kind of little machines, but they didn't even think of them as life. And the fact that they have behavior, again, you know, we can find things in nature that display behavior that have nothing. I mean, I've made this example before, but I can put fucking dish soap in greasy water, and I can watch the water behave. Does that mean it's alive? No, I know it's not alive, but you'll see it behave. I can look at the eddy in a stream, and I can say, oh, look, it's moving.
How do you know it's not alive? Oh, there must be some way to tell eventually by looking really closely that it's not alive. And we did look that closely, so we know it's not alive, but I'm arguing that water is alive now.
Mike is still way the fuck too loud!
Well, I turned it down. I have a Mac. Okay, I'll try again.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know why you can't step away from your headphones. I mean, why can't you break the fucking stalk off and stick it over somewhere else? Tape it somewhere, like against the wall. Put a Band-Aid over it. Put a Band-Aid over your mic. Yeah, that'll work.
How about this?
Yeah, well, we'll see. When you start yelling, it's probably not going to be any good.
Well, it's probably the same if you could even hear me, because yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you fine, but now you're talking like a regular human, so it's not going to matter.
I know, well, that's not going to last long. So take that into account. This is still the same. I don't know what the fucking thing. It says Logitech fucking thing.
Well, whatever. But it just really is difficult to have a conversation when you're always yelling. So anyway, look, life is not the issue, okay? There's nothing sacred about the word life.
So ironic.
Let's separate the word life from the word neurologically capable. You know, let's talk about organisms that have brains. Let's not talk about organisms that don't, because the organisms that don't aren't doing anything that I'm doing. The only thing important about what I'm doing is my sentient experience. Outside of that, you can have the whole thing. You can do whatever you want with it. It might as well be a rag doll. Okay?
Well, people could say that.
They're relevant.
But you can't, because you say we're bacteria with brains, and the point of that is they do. They pursue reproduction and food.
They
and water and other resources.
pursue. Right, again, you're just implying that they will something. They do not will it. They are a machine. Okay, they function as
They're a machine that pursues, and so are we.
There's no point. They do not pursue in the same sense as a cheetah pursues. They do not
We
do.
are a machine too. But we're a machine too. I don't see how you can deny this. You contradict yourself because you recognize clearly we're just a machine. And then you go, they're just a machine. Like that matters.
Fuck it. Fuck it. I mean, there's just no point.
I'm not screaming, and I could see that it's lower.
My point is I've never said we were anything other than a machine, and that's exactly my point, though. We're a machine with a brain, and everything interesting that's happening to us is happening in our brain. The rest of my body is shit. It might as well be a piece of shit. It is useless as the shit that comes out of my ass. The only part of me that means anything is the fucking brain. When it's conscious. It doesn't even mean anything when it's dead or when it's unconscious.
How's this? Is this better?
Or in a persistent
Here's me
vegetative.
thinking it's ironic.
That's much better, Piro.
Well, you can
Gary,
keep
did you
saying
notice you said that it's hard to have...
ironic in it. There's nothing. There's no contradiction in my statement. There's no irony in my statements. It's just idiotic to call something pursuit that isn't pursuit.
Well, no, but the tangent, you had said that it's hard to have a conversation when I was yelling, that was ironic.
Well, I'm just saying that two people can't be yelling. Obviously, I am going to yell, and so if the other guy's yelling, things aren't going to work. So somebody has to concede they can't be a yeller, and I'm just saying it's my room, so I'm just assuming that when I go to someone else's room, I will have to be the quiet little person getting their fucking dick in their ass, and that'll be the way it is.
Well, you're not putting a dick in my ass, but you're right, that does make it less ironic. But the thing with behavior, I mean, I just wish we could talk about it from my point of view is that it doesn't matter if you're not as interested in microbiology as someone else. This is the human race. We look into all of it, you know, so it's not uninteresting fundamentally. And there are similarities. It seems like to me like you're in denial, which is weird because what's bacteria with brains mean?
It's
talking about how we're just like bacteria.
Those are huge accusations.
A fucking machine driven by consumption, reproduction, and yes, because of the brain, we can do the cannibalism and the addiction. And that's all it means. It means it's a fucking, we're trapped inside of an insidious, monstrous, horrible disease, virus, bug. We're fucking traveling inside a bug. That's what the whole fucking metaphor is intended to demonstrate, is that we're nothing better. We're nothing better than a fucking goddamn syphilis microbe, except we have brains to be even more malicious than syphilis. We can be fucking insidiously monstrous on purpose. Where the syphilis is just a chemical piece of scum, we're a scum on purpose.
But why, you know, nerves are made of these actin fibers. Why not everything that has an actin fiber? Why not everything that's a carbon-based molecule? Why not? Why are you deciding? Because I know you're people traditionally. Wait, I'll just finish real quickly. But people traditionally often didn't see that dogs had it, and so on and so forth. You know the argument. It goes through. You question down to bugs. Why stop? I mean, what is the reason, like fundamentally, to be offended? Asking where that stops.
Why make a distinction between this piece of paper and a computer? Oh yeah.
No, I'm trying to make the distinction.
It's on it, so why this? Okay, compute paper.
That's not fair. That's not fair because I'm asking where the distinction lies, and you're saying I don't want to know. Who cares?
I told you where the distinction lies. The distinction lies in what's called the central nervous system, a system of reflexes that creates, okay, the illusion of consciousness. So obviously sentience, you need a whole pile of hardware to create the stage. You need to build the theater, okay? Without the theater, without the stage, without the props, without the sets, without the canes and the hats and the tap dancing shoes, there's no fucking show, okay? You have to have all the costumes, you have to have all the crap. It takes a lot of hardware to create this illusion of consciousness. You can't just
Central nervous system.
You can't
Okay,
go buy
question.
some Kodak camera, a little box camera, and say, I'm going to make Ben-Hur. Okay, I got my little box camera. I'm going to make Ben-Hur. No, that's not going to fucking happen.
It takes a central nervous system. Do the nerves have to be made out of particular things? Like, could it be a simulated nerve in a computer? Could it be a nerve made out of a silicon chip, you know, to mimic the nerve?
Well, there's obviously something to the hardware, so I think it has to be a feedback mechanism that somehow is coherent to what we call a sense, okay? And the senses have to be qualitatively tainted. So I've made this argument in my videos that you don't fucking watch, but in the video I point out that you have to create the tension. You have to create some sort of mechanism of self-interest. That means you have to create something that can be punished and something that can be rewarded. That means you have to create something called a sensitive spot. You have to create the ability to make something miserable and then to give it relief. All right, that's the only way you can create reward and punishment. And guess what? The punishment comes first. You have to create the negative before you can have the positive, and that's the mechanism we're built on. So, in my opinion, it seems theoretically possible. Of course, it's just matter. You should be able to duplicate it. Maybe you can make it a little bit differently. Maybe you can make it with silicone hardware, and you can make the eyes out of this, and you can do this and this, and replace the neurons with something. But I'm just saying it's going to be incredibly difficult to make it coherent to the function, which is the necessity to create a self-interest. Self-interest, an agenda, right? That's the word I used in the video. Creating something that has an agenda, that's the hard part.
Self-awareness.
Well, you know what? All living creatures seem to have an agenda.
Well,
I don't see how you can say that.
Just stop doing that. Haven't we had this argument enough times? I'm not going to accept seems.
Oh, no. Oh, you know, it's okay. Okay, they all have an agenda. They all try to get food. They all try to pesticide pests. They all try to heal.
Keep abusing the language, okay? Just abuse the meaning of words, okay? So, yeah, agenda now doesn't mean that you have a thought process. No, agenda means that you have, it's like you're saying my shit in my anus right now, in my colon, has an agenda. No, it doesn't, okay? It's shit, okay? It's waiting for something to happen to it.
Well,
it's not going to do anything. It has no volition whatsoever. All it has is a chemical disposition.
People have no agenda then. Hey, all I'm saying is most people don't have an agenda. If you're going to be too highbrow, like a list of things they want to do, they don't know what the fuck they're doing at any moment.
Highbrow. Understand what he means by highbrow. He means brain. So if I say something needs to have a brain, he's saying I'm being elitist. I'm discriminating for no reason. No,
I can explain what I mean by that. No, I said if you want to have... No.
Why do you make the distinction of being alive at all then?
It's not what I meant by highbrow. No, I meant if you want to have a strict definition of agenda, like...
The idiotic argument that I can fucking sit here and stick a knife in my goddamn brain and...
How long do you want to spend before we get back to you don't understand what I was saying? By highbrow, I meant something that I could explain. I'm talking about if you want to have a strict definition of agenda, like at a meeting, I demand there's an agenda so we don't waste time, and it has to be written. Okay, if you want to say something very formulated about agendas, most people don't have them. That's what I meant.
Well, I'm just sorry. It's just a word play that I think is totally corrosive to anything called a coherent conversation. Okay, you just can't. You can't take the word agenda and take it out.
Things don't have an agenda. Then I'm sorry, it's not true. Then I deny what you said. I'm sorry, dogs don't have an agenda. Sorry, so it doesn't fit that.
Dogs have a sentient self-interest. Dead dogs don't have an agenda. That's right. When the dog is
agenda. What's the dog's agenda?
And its brain no longer works, the dog no longer has an agenda.
What's its agenda when it is alive?
It's hungry, it's horny, it needs, it feels. That's its agenda. Without feelings, there's nothing.
I'm saying bacteria do. They do all of those things except for you deny they feel. They look like they feel. When you poke them, they react like they felt it.
Don't have a DNA molecule in our life.
But here's the thing, we figured out what was alive long before we figured out
molecule, but they don't actually have a brain.
Well, I know, I'm the one pointing out that the word life doesn't mean shit. It just means that something fucking goddamn has a DNA molecule. It doesn't mean shit. Alive doesn't mean anything.
Gary, I would like to know how you think they figured out what was alive from a microscope way before they figured out. Way before they saw any DNA, that you're defining it way later as DNA. That's bullshit. We knew about what was alive. We knew about germs before DNA.
I'm basically going to talk over here. How did they figure out how to call a tiger a tiger? How did they do that? Holy shit! That's totally amazing. They figured out how to call a tiger a tiger. They made it up, bro. Okay? They made up
Because they act like animals. It's because they act like little animals, little bugs, like you said. That's why they don't have a brain, but they act like that because they do have a nucleus. They have a nucleus. They have a centralized signal system.
Yeah, consumption,
You don't seem to accept.
consumption and reproduction. Consumption
You don't
and
seem to accept.
reproduction. Consumption and reproduction. That's a DNA molecule. That's what it does. Consumption and reproduction.
Which every protozoa does. That's why I'm saying it's ironic, Gary, because you funnel back down to exactly why it seems similar to me.
Earth for the fucking first 3.5 billion years was a bunch of fucking chemistry. It was shit. It was literally fucking as meaningless as shit. The shit you flush down the toilet. That's how fucking meaningful life on Earth was for the first 3.5 billion years. It was all just shit.
To me, it seems like you are objecting to the invention of the pain nerve. You know, it's like shit was fine until we could feel pain.
Between organisms that have neurological sentience and organisms that do not. The organisms that do not have sentient capacity might as well be fucking dead. They're deader than zombies. They're less than zombies. Okay? Zombies are more alive than motherfucking parameciums.
I think there's a lot more of an ambiguous.
That's a big circle. Should I leave now? I came in on the science of zombies.
Well, I don't care when to do whatever you want to do. I'm just saying that we have done this.
I don't want to. I'm just saying we were talking zombie science when I came in, but not me, because that's stupid. But you guys were, and now it's back to zombies. Maybe it means there should be just a new topic, and we'll come back to zombies again in 20 minutes.
Well, it's all going to fail because it's all going to come back to this frickin' goddamn notion you have that the universe produces life like it is some sort of thing that means something, and it doesn't mean a motherfucking thing. We're just animated clumps of crap, okay, that are motivated by a frickin' personal agenda DNA molecule.
I don't really think it means anything. We can, as a human being, you can make it mean stuff, just like stuff can be painful or whatever. But I just think it is inevitable. At the basic level, it's inevitable that life arises out of this universe, I think. And so there is no, like, a battle against the phenomena of life would be like a battle against the phenomena of fusion energy or the battle against orbital mechanics, you know? To me, I'm not saying, I get why you want to fight it because it's so fucked up. I get that.
Yeah, it's fucked up for most of the life that's ever existed, except for the few egomaniacal humans who said, I kick ass. But yeah, the rest of the life all ended up just horribly dying after wasting their time chasing other shit and making it stay suck. So yeah, we make things go through shit suck. We run over shit, we eat shit, we crush shit, we smash shit, and then we get crushed and smashed. Yeah, it's a big, giant fucking meat grinder, and that's all it is. But the fact that the universe did it doesn't mean anything in the sense that, like, again, abiogenesis, one time. Eukaryotiness, one time. Neurology, one time. And now and there's probably about 7,000 other one-time events that took place that made us possible, that made neurology possible, that made a sentient brain possible. So, welcome to the, Googleplex, okay, yeah, Googleplex, in terms of how unlikely we could be.
See, what's ironic to me is you think that I'm having this crazy position where I'm glorifying life, and to me, you're glorifying the human brain. It's like, to me, it's like, wow, the cell actually has one of these things in it, simpler, but not that fundamentally different. That makes humans not that special, and so to me, you're glorifying humans and mammals.
Not that I mean, that's just a silly phrase to me.
I mean,
You
it's a matter of scale. It's a matter of scale. I don't know how to explain it to you. It's a matter of scale. So there's a difference, but
don't think feelings are an insanely, incredibly huge difference.
Well, Gary, I've shown videos where I thought it looked like an animal was writhing in pain that was a single-celled organism or a five-celled organism, so that it looks that way. Now, that's how the dog looks. I'm deducing from the behavior. I am deducing from the behavior.
I'm not going to...
deducing from the behavior the same way you did with the dog, Gary.
You're deducing like a crazy creationist would deduce. It's an insanely
People
stupid...
say the same thing to you about the dog, that you're anthropomorphizing the dog.
Oh, bullshit. Anybody who says that's an idiot because it has a mammal brain.
I agree with you, but there's millions of people that said it for 1,000 years.
They're assholes, Pierrot. All right, you want to put yourself in the category.
That's what I like about you.
I'll open the door for you. Here's the door. Walk through it if you want to walk through it. So go ahead, walk through the asshole door. Fine. I'm just saying that's what you're walking through.
No, I'm not. What are you talking about? No, I'm not. I'm saying the dog has will. I'm not on the asshole side. You and I agree, and I'm just saying why not the other little animals? Why not the bugs? Why not the bees? You were weakening on bees. That was the last place I think we left off. You're weakening on bees, ants, fuck 'em. That's where I remember the Borderlands.
I didn't
somewhere about
ants. I never said that ever. I have said.
Okay, I'm joking about the ants. It was somewhere in the insects.
And there's no way that I can make draw hard conclusions about what happens in terms of insect sentience. And I just made the argument that it seems logically unescapable that organisms that learn are being punished and rewarded, which means they must be sentient. Because the only way you can get punished and rewarded and learn is you gotta be sentient.
Well, I just thought of a good experiment then. So if somebody could do something like they do with rats, like put microbes in a maze or something they're trapped in, and they get out and there's food out there or something like that, or maybe even just if they escape, maybe it's confining. That could tell. If they got faster and faster at doing that.
Game again, Pierrot. Okay. Obviously, we have to qualify everything. We know that We know that a bacterium experiment would be multi-generational to get it to change its behavior. So you're not. Well, yes, to change its behavior.
No, actually, that's not true. You know that. No. Can I tell you what I think the scientific known fact of that is? Actually, human cells have what I think it's called apoptosis, but they die early, basically. Protozoa, which are eukaryotic cells like all multi-cell animals or eukaryotic, they live an indefinite amount of time. They have to split every 2 years, but that's a clone.
The point is
No, they don't. I'm sorry, they don't split. They don't split. No, they do the. Wait, let me get it right. They don't have to split. They actually go up to other one-celled creatures and have this process where they share genes. And they will just live on and on and on. Now, you could say, well, that's the copy, but no, it's the same cell, and it's traded some genes with another eukaryote, and it will get faster and faster at things. That's its brain, is genes.
That's a copy, Pierrot. That's called reproduction.
Well, it's different from when they copy themselves.
I'm just saying it doesn't matter whether you have asexual copy or a sexual copy, okay? It doesn't make a distinction in the fact that you're making a copy, okay? And it's a copy that has mutations or changes in it, okay? So what I'm saying is you're changing the DNA code, you're changing the machine. The fact that you can train your computer to do something isn't going to prove your computer's alive. So I could train my computer to do something, but that's not going to prove it's alive. I mean, I
was just probing into that. I agree. That's a hard thing. Learning seems like it should be that way, but it's a pretty hard phenomenon.
I think there's a huge connection between learning and reward and punishment, right? That seems logical. Can you agree with me there? That learning takes because you reward one kind of behavior and you punish another kind of behavior, and that's essentially learning, correct?
Yeah, and I also agree with this if you want to call I forget what they call it, but conjugation or whatever, where they share genes with another eukaryote, if you want to call that, well, that's a different single-celled creature because it's basically run directly by that DNA, right? It's not building a body like in our case. It's actually got the instructions of how for that thing to be the complete creature, one cell that it is. So the interesting thing though is you could see the analogy though, but you could see the analogy of how they do learn that way. They learn, they learn they're reacting. So that, to me, they're just closer to the ticker tape. To me, the DNA is the program.
You do not call evolution learning. You don't call changing the design of the function learning. Well, I'm just saying, it's breaking the word learning then, okay? You're not punishing.
It's the same thing. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's not a change in the word at all. I think it's the same phenomenon. It looks the same. I call it the same because that's what it looks like.
Well, I mean,
I think the thinking and evolution blur together like this. No, thinking and evolution blur together.
It's a infantilely
evolution is multi-generational thinking.
Just break the words.
No, I think that
other words. Now, learning.
Evolution is. Language changes constantly, Gary. The language changes constantly, as you know.
For any good reasons, Piero. That's exactly my point. Scientists are fucking. I bet you on Vulcan they don't change the fucking meaning of the words every 15 minutes.
Well, you change the meaning of words all the time.
No, I don't. I'm trying to give a fucking rational definition of words, okay? So if a word has a fucking ambiguous definition, I say fuck it, and I don't want to use it anymore. That's why I had to call myself an ethicist, is because people can't use words rationally.
It's just, I know, you invented a new word. It's like, I don't understand. You think there's a particular definition already. It's like that people could agree on. It's vague. People are vague. Words are vague. Your granddaddy did not give you a precise word. It's vague.
I'm giving you a perfectly unvague definition of sentience, which is the ability to feel, which is the ability to be punished and rewarded, which is tightly associated with learning and the fact that we can basically make a connection between sentient organisms and organisms capable of learning. And you will break that just so you can weasel in a fucking goddamn microbes that you can evolve to be blue or green, or you can evolve them to have red eyes or black eyes. I can evolve a patch of fucking fruit flies in my goddamn kitchen. I can raise them to have fucking red eyes. I can do that.
You're out on a limb, Gary. Let me tell you, you're out on a limb because they
learned to have red eyes. No, I imposed it on them. They didn't learn shit. I made them do it.
Gary, you're out on a limb because I'll have to go look up these studies, but there's been many studies, and they don't wait for any sort of splitting or sex at all. It's the very same paramecium without any mitosis.
It only happens if they're in a crowd, like lemons, okay? No, sorry, Piero. It only happens when the chemistry changes. There has to be a chemical signal. There has to be a chemical signal, okay? They do not learn. They reflexively react. It is just to say they do not. Look, Piero, because some organism eats too much or eats a lot and becomes full, it doesn't mean it learned to be full. It means it's full, okay? It didn't learn to be full. You made it full. You fed it. It behaves differently when it's full and when it's not full. You don't call that learning. It didn't stop eating. No, it stops eating because it's fucking full.
But I'm not calling that learning. I'm calling being faster and faster.
Experiments are based on. I'm
faster and faster at getting out of a maze.
Every one of those experiments, you can find the chemical signal that changes the behavior. The change in behavior is imposed by the circumstances. It is not being caused internally by the organism. The organism is just a reflexive machine. There is nothing else happening. It's imposed chemistry, and it's just bullshit to call that learning. It is not learning.
Okay, I'm not calling it anything then. I will back off and call it paramecium get faster and faster of getting out of...
Yeah, redesign. You call it, what you call it is just redesigning the machine.
Like the brain. gets redesigned. That's what learning in the brain is, I'm pretty sure.
Again, we're talking about how the brain gets redesigned. Obviously, we're all material. Obviously, it's all physics. Obviously, it's all quanta. You can break it down all you fucking want, but what we're saying is there's a distinction between a sentient organism, it's having a conscious experience, and it learns through those conscious experiences. With the qualitative state of the experiences changes the learned behavior of the organism.
We agree on that. Let's take that as a summary, because I'm going to take a break. I'll be back in a while.
Hopefully you'll trip on a paramecium. A paramecium will stab you in the fucking head.
You could talk about what we'll do on my visit after I move to the East Coast.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, what we'll do on your visit. Oh, that'll be hilarious. Oh, I'll so kick your ass. I'll film it from 17 different directions. Piro's visit. I'll just punch the fuck out of him. I'll get out of his car and I'll just wail on him.